Today we're going to be talking about special products of binomials. And let's start. This is really going to give you some shortcuts to multiplying polynomials. If you square a binomial, your result will be what's called a perfect square trinomial. And if you have a plus b squared, all squared, that would be equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. If I have a minus b and that whole quantity squared, I will get a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. And you might think, well, how's that a shortcut? Well, let me show you. What we're going to do is, first of all, let's say we've got x plus 3 squared. We're going to square, I'm just going to abbreviate that, square the x, square the 3, square the first and the last term, and then we multiply, and double the terms for our middle term. Now let's see how this works. We get x squared when we square the first term. 3 squared gives us 9. It's positive, so I'll put a plus there. And now let's multiply and double the terms for our middle term. 3 times x is 3x. Double it, you get positive 6x. And there's your answer. And you haven't had to use FOIL method. You haven't had to distribute. Let's try this one. Same idea. Square the first term. We get 16s squared. Square your last term. So we get 9t squared. Multiply and double the terms for the middle term. 4s times 3t is 12st. Double it, you get positive 24st. And by the way, this was a plus here. Okay, so we get 16s squared plus 24st plus 9t squared. Let's continue. Next one, we have 5 plus m squared all squared. So square your first term, you get 25. Square your last term. M squared squared gives you m to the 4th. Multiply and double those terms. Now 5 times m squared is 5m squared. Double it, you get 10m squared. I'm sorry. So we have 25 plus 10m squared plus m to the 4th. Let's do this one. Square your first term. You get x squared. Square your last term. You get positive 36, because remember, negative 6 squared, negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. Now, multiply and double those terms. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. Double it, and you will get negative 12x. Okay, so you can see where this is really a great shortcut here. Let's do one more. We want to square our first term, so we get 16m squared. Square your last term, so you have 100. And remember, that is a positive. Negative 10 times negative 10 is positive 100. Multiply and double these terms. So we have 4m times negative 10, which gives us negative 40m. Double it, and you get negative 80m. So we get 16m squared minus 80m plus 100. So there's one shortcut, which is really going to be helpful. Let me show you another one. This is called the difference of two squares. So if you have two binomials that you are multiplying together, and the only thing they differ by is in between the first two terms there's a plus, and between the last two terms there's a minus, that's called the difference of two squares, because you always get a squared minus b squared. Let's see how this works. Notice x plus 4, x minus 4. The only thing that differs is the plus and the minus. So go ahead, square the first term. X times x is x squared. Square the last terms. You have 16. And remember, it's actually a minus that's in between them, because really your last term is 4 times negative 4. So you get negative 16. Okay, so we get x squared minus 16 for that one. Moving on to the next one. Again, you do have two binomials that the only way they differ, one has a plus, one has a minus. So let's go ahead and do this. P squared times p squared, p to the 4th. So square your first terms, put down your minus, Square the last ones. 8q times 8q gives you 64q squared. A lot easier than foiling. Let's try this one again. 10 plus b, 10 minus b. That fits our format. Square your first term. You get 100. Put down your minus. Square your last term. You get b squared. So 100 minus b squared. Okay? And so now, moving on to the next problem. Write a polynomial that represents the area of the yard around the pool shown below. Now here's your pool, and here's your yard, which I'll just sort of color in. Okay, there's your yard. Okay, now if we could find the area of the outer rectangle and the area of the inner rectangle, which is the pool, and subtract them, it would give us the area in between. It would give us the area of the yard. So let's go ahead and do that. The way we'd find the area of the outer rectangle, remember, is to take length times width. So in this case, our length is x plus 5, and our width is x plus 4. So we're going to take x plus 5 times x plus 4, and we want to subtract the area of the smaller rectangle. So we want to subtract, again, length times width, x plus 2 times x minus 2. So let's go ahead and do that. This first one is not the difference of two squares, so we are going to have to actually FOIL that out. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 4. Let's see. Oh, did I write that down? I'm sorry. That's supposed to be a positive 4. Sorry, I just wrote that down wrong. So x times x is x squared, and x times positive 4 is 4x. 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times 4 is 20. Okay. So combine our like terms. So we have x squared plus 9x plus 20. And now we want to subtract the answer that we get when we say x plus 2 times x minus 2. Well, we know that that is just going to give us, since that's the difference of two squares, square our first terms. X times x is x squared. Square our last terms. We get 4. Put the negative in between. So we want to subtract this guy here, this particular polynomial. So the thing I really want you to do is put parentheses around it, because since we're subtracting it, we need to make sure that this minus, this negative in front, applies to each term. Now, if you want to, put a 1 here. Go ahead and use your distributive property. So you have negative x squared plus 4. And now we'll bring down the polynomial in front. And let's combine our like terms. We have x squared minus x squared. Well, they cancel. That's convenient. We just have 9x for an x term. And now we have 2 plus 4, which gives us 6 here. So we end up with 9x squared plus 16. Did I forget to write? Oh, dear. Let me go back here. I'm sorry. Let me go back. I wrote that down as 2 instead of 20. So just bear with me a second. Let me erase this. You see what I did? I had written down 2 instead of 20. So that was my mistake here. Let's just go back and fix that. So again, our x squareds cancel. We have 9x squared, but this really was 20 instead of 2. Sorry about that. 20 plus 4 gives us 24. Thank you very much for joining me. I think we finally got that straightened out. So this is the area of the yard. Okay. And thank you so much.